vamos a intentar ir recuperando un poquito de tiempo.
Okay, we will try to catch up so that we just don't finish at 10 o'clock. So our next speakers have committed to be fast in the presentation. You all have seen that this is announced as a surprise presentation, as a surprise talk. Why is that? Well, we are doing that for two reasons. This is an idea that came up when four of us were sitting down, and then we say, what can we do at RootedCon in a fun manner, evidencing the bad practices of some of us, and then also showing the cool things that we could do with good brains. You know that Pricewaterhouse is the gold sponsor of the 4 rooms. I was very much interested in getting Pricewaterhouse as a sponsor because I used to work for them. So because of my personality, you may understand why I did not stay in that company, but I'm very, very proud to have Pricewaterhouse with us today. So the Ortiaga team at Pricewaterhouse is very, very good at security. I very much like to find out about their achievements. So they are, well, surely this presentation will be of high technical quality. Okay, would you please introduce yourselves? Thank you very much. Hello, good afternoon. Thank you, everyone. For those of you who don't know us, my name is Juan Carlos Diaz. I am the Director of Security for Pricewaterhouse in Spain, and he is Jorge Rodriguez. He is a credit expert. So I'm very lucky to work with him. He's been bearing with me for 8 years now. As Roman mentioned, a few weeks ago, he proposed a challenge to us. Okay, bear with me, we are setting everything up.
Este es el título de la charla. Todas nuestras direcciones.
All of our Macs belong to everyone. That's the title of our presentation. Rather than giving you the typical introduction with a slide, and bearing in mind that this is room 25 in this cinema paradise, with our humble knowledge, we've decided to show you an introduction in video. Would you turn down the lights a little bit, please?
Bueno, espero que os haya gustado.
I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you so much. The truth is, it took us quite a while, because none of us is a specialist in video edition. Let's share the credits and the acknowledgements, of course the entire audience and all the organizers. It's a pleasure to be here today. We've been working on cybersecurity for many years. We've been doing our best to try and find potential avenues of collaboration with Root.con, and the fact that PwC has decided to be a gold sponsor and that the entire team has been involved in this challenge is a big reason to be proud. That was a teaser, so I hope it delivered what it promised. So, the intro was made by Roman. He got in touch with us 2 weeks ago. Our entire team with 17 people on board started working hard right from the beginning. This is the origin. We are here. The challenge was accepted. And we are talking about one main purpose, which is identifying people, tracking them where they move around closed premises like these ones, and obtaining information about users, as much information as possible. The building is quite large, it's got different rooms, there's lots of walls. So we will be capturing information which is moving around and bouncing off the walls. Was the cost of the infrastructure, and the funny part was that we would remain hidden behind the scenes, no one would notice. If we take a look at the alternatives or the options we have, since this is not open air, since we don't have a GPS system for geolocation, we thought of GSM to start with. This is a protocol which is always on. As soon as you switch your mobile phone, switch on your mobile phone, you can either switch on or switch off. If you switch off your phone, you're gone. But then there is a mix of protocols. You have to have 2G, 3G, 4G. It is not legal to start BTS. Because you're using a proprietary frequency. So we had to forget about GSM. Bluetooth. On the plus side, it is a common protocol. A lot of people use it. People are using wearables all over the place, so that is one of the main reasons why they use Bluetooth all the time. And then it is a more accurate thing than GSM. The range is much closer. The reach is much closer, and you need more devices. And that is on the minus side. And then you need to locate lots of devices, so increases in costs. And then we got to Wi-Fi. On the plus side, this is quite a common protocol. It's got a much better reach than the one for Bluetooth. People don't usually switch off their Wi-Fi's, so they keep sending information about themselves all the time. So this is the option we chose. What does the standard say? Simplifying, we will not go into the details here. Access points broadcast information saying, this is me, this is me, this is me. So the devices say, hello, I want this Wi-Fi, I want this Wi-Fi. This is done by default, okay? By default. How regularly do mobiles say where they are? Well, it may vary. It may be every 10 seconds, every 10 minutes, every hour. So devices are not very discreet. It's like shooting into the air. I want this Wi-Fi, not there. I want this Wi-Fi, not there. I want this Wi-Fi, yes, I'm here, fine, I'm connecting. What happens if we monitor traffic, Wi-Fi traffic, in a place like this during Root.con? So, we talk about how to get ready. In terms of hardware, obviously we needed something that could be standard enough, robust, simple, and with low consumption. So we chose a Raspberry Pi with an integrated LAN module, and we added an RTC to synchronize the clock. We wanted all of them to be able to synchronize with each other, so that when data was collected, we could correlate correspondingly. Obviously, we needed to have proper power supplies. We used power banks, switching them off on and off every day, and obviously an advanced cloaking mechanism. At the end of the day, there's lots of people here that know a lot about this trade. So we designed a thermal optical camouflage system, but it does have a problem. The efficiency of the mechanism itself. Do you know this formula? This formula says the efficiency of the security mechanism is inversely proportional to the amount of liters of beer that the attacker drinks. And suddenly, last night, after the talk, Illuminati got along and got rid of our camouflage. So thank you, Roman, because you could fix it on time. However, this produced a major impact. As soon as I got the call, as soon as I knew that this was happening, all the Raspberry Pis that were using this camouflage system were removed. So we have little data, but never mind. A definition of the process. This is very simple. You start, they synchronize with time, it sends keep alive, it captures data, it does the sync with our servers, they do the correlation, they do the terrorization, and we do the visualization. Very quickly. Capturing and synchronizing data. All mobile phones are sending their beacons, we're getting all the data. There's Raspberry Pis all over the place, sending information. We analyze where it gets to, with what power, the access point, the point in time. So we would move around. When the Raspberries detected access points, broadcasting about themselves, we would connect and upload the data, so that no one will play the trick on us to give us a fake access point when we're requesting it. An important thing here, why do we have to have an RTC? Well, because Raspberry Pis don't have one integrated. So when they're disconnected, they lose their time, data on time. For this, we needed to ensure that all Raspberry Pi units were synchronized between them. The environment, very quickly. We're not reinventing the wheel here, okay? We use zero dump, the parser that we've been using, Elasticsearch to keep it simple to upload the data, Kibana to show it, a front end, where we worked a lot so that we could apply monitoring of all people and display those points in time which were particularly interesting, and trilateralization or trilateration. Whatever. Trilateralization or trilateration, difficult to pronounce, but never mind. What is this? The main objective here is to try and move from power to coordinates. So this is more or less like a GPS, but the other way around, okay? In this case, the GPSs are the ones announcing themselves for mobile phones. When you get data from a GPS, you do the mathematics and you calculate the coordinates. In this case, it's the other way around. It's the mobile phones that are announcing things to access points. Okay? Now, in order to do this trilateration, we needed three access points. That would have obtained each individual MAC. If we have more than 3, we select the 3 that got the larger power. Once we have that power, we apply this equation, which I am not going to explain. As everyone knows, rooted is a completely free space, no modifications were needed, there's no rebounds or anything like that. And then for each AP, we draw, using the mathematics, a circle. This is the area where we should have the 3 circles related to the 3 access points. But then we could have 2 things to take into account. One, that 2 APs would have no overlap. We will have a shadow area. It may well be that we're getting power that is misleading. If we're getting power and we think that circles are this way, since they don't intersect each other, we need to find an alternative solution, which is making circles bigger so that they cut across each other. And that's how you play around until you get to this situation. This one would be shorter, this one would be bigger, so that they intersect each other. Once they intersect each other, things will be rather straightforward. The cutting points will be calculated, and that is where we have the person using the access point. What happens if there is no point where the 3 circles cut each other? Well, we use a triangular shape and we calculate the central point for that triangular area. Once we have completed the process with scripts, we do it as a block. We have the 15 access points that were deployed during 3 days with 1 minute for each sample, and we do the matrix calculation. And then the show itself, which is what we're here for. On Thursday, this is a physical layout of Raspberry Pis. Here above the ceiling, next to the doors, some technical areas near the common area. Oh, by the way, show that one, please. Reactivating them every day implied asking for favors, because we needed the rooms closed for a while. After 3 days, they're still working, and they have a reasonable amount of power. I feel like a VIP. So we distributed 15 units throughout the building. On day 1, we needed raspberries in this area. On day 2, we got rid of the ones located in the corridors and near the toilets. It was very important to know where each one was, because otherwise the mapping would have been impossible. So let's talk about the data that we gathered. This is quite interesting. We've seen, first of all, 151,000 unique MACs showing up only once. This is rather strange. Single MACs. This is what we were expecting. MACs appearing twice, 86,000. MACs appearing 3 times, 51,000. In order to understand this, we will need to look at the data. Someone has been playing around generating MAC addresses. I wonder who. So what did we do to find out the real number of MACs? So 2190 valid MACs. It could well be that people use 2-3 gadgets, so it seems to make sense. Other data. 31,000 Wi-Fi networks have been searched uniquely. We all have our mobile phones, we have connected to different IP addresses, we have requested addresses 31,000 times, and there's been more than 4 million total searches using these Wi-Fi networks. This is only 2 days, remember that? Yes, roughly. The top 20 ESSID is shown in this chart. Well, here you have all the names. I thought this one would appear much more often, but never mind. Names. Let's laugh a little bit. Roman, man. There's a lot of very funny people around. I have a doubt. Who is this? Is it the guy stealing or the guy they steal from? Well, a little bit of everything, really. Some we didn't want to include because they were a bit too heavy. Okay, let's take another look at the data. Here we have the aggregated sum of unique MACs seen by all Raspberries for days 1 and 2. I could connect to Kibana to take a look, but this is day 1. We have the registry, we come on at midday, people come in, they go out, and here we just connect. This is day 2. Bear in mind what this means. You cannot have 51,000 unique MACs for half an hour. Yeah, it's half an hour. That's impossible. People have been generating MAC addresses, and we've seen that has been generated today as well. What did we do? Through one single Raspberry Pi, we did the mathematics to get these figures. This is from day 1 to day 2 through Raspberry unit number 12. This is the one located over there. Well, never mind, we will try to find that later. There we go. At this point in time, at 9 in the morning, more than 4,000 MACs. This is crazy. They've been generated artificially. So the number of unique MACs as seen by Raspberry 11. This is nearby. We wanted to correlate between the two charts. If all of them see the same thing, it does make sense. This is another visualization of the data. These are the devices on the edges. And the lines are interactions between devices. This took us quite a while. There were millions of requests. So generating this is very time consuming. We would need to zoom in. But there's some interesting trends here at certain points. We have grouped together the devices by type of interaction. Here we've seen devices which have been communicating heavily. So these are interpretations of the data, visual interpretations. If you want to have a chat with us about this, we'll be more than happy. As we were saying, this is after people left the last presentation yesterday on Friday. This is beer time, 6, 8, 10 and 12. What do we have here? Raspberry 10, 6, 8, 10 and 12 are located here next to the bar, just next to a beer tub. As you see, if this is 10 and they go in order, 6, 8, 10, 12, and go back to the map, we see that 10, 8, 6 and 12 have seen complete concentration. Now, zooming in on the Raspberry unit number 10, we see unit 10 between 7 and 11 p.m. That's 8:45 p.m. That's where people leave. And then we have another interesting point in time, 10:20 p.m. What happened at that time? Our friend again. So let's go into data preview. Identifying individuals. In this case, we analyze this room 25 for 8 hours. So it was filtered through the Wi-Fi networks for the stage, the keynote and everything. And we selected the 2 networks which were most powerful with probes 1 and 2. And this is the MAC we got. So who's right here at the center? You bastards. Come on.
Vale, luego también intentamos...
And then we tried to find other Macs to see whether they could be interesting. But once we saw the types of Macs and the people they belong to, we decided to leave it as it was because they were highly sensitive. Let's put it that way. Okay, demo time. Tracking Roman during first day.
Afortunadamente no llegaban allí. Vamos.
Unfortunately, we didn't get all the details. This is the panel we've been working on. It's been a lot of hard work. I'm so grateful to all of the members of my team. So, to keep things simple, we can do a search based on MAC address. But let us simplify. Let us track Roman. I've done you a favor. We have videos, but we also have beer. Here he is. He's moving. This is switched off during the restarts of the Raspberry Pis. Having beer. This is quite long. We'll speed it up. Now it's moving much faster. 60 seconds every second. Okay, enough. Thank you. The next thing we had, we didn't ask for permissions, so this data extraction, we never did it. And then contrast Kodan. I can show you a video. That's much quicker. I think it will be cool.
Tarda unos segunditos, ¿eh? Más adelante.
Como se puede ver, hay una masa de gente justa.
As you can see, there's a bunch of people in that area.
Bueno, lo que hemos querido hacer aquí era
Well, our goal here was to select an area, and anyone getting into that area during that period of time would have a change in the icon. I think we have another demo. Of course, beer time. Next year we'll have to drink less. But let's share the demo anyway, instead of a video. As you see, the moment we have selected goes from 7 p.m. all the way through 8:30 p.m. So everything we've seen before is from yesterday. All those things happening, well, this is what we're seeing now. They've just closed room 25 and they're outside. Everyone is outside.
Okay, these are the data. Okay, what you can see is what we have seen. So this is not intended to be a GPS, that is to say, very, very accurate, because we are kind of using a functionality, a feature of a Wi-Fi network, but it still gives us a specific range for an area. So this kind of tells us where the person may be located, but it does not tell you about the specific location of that person, okay? So these are the demos that we brought with us. So, as you've seen before, we are bringing lots of data with us. Okay, we have missed out a whole congress because everyone in the team was working for days. We came in at 6 a.m. in the morning. We were hiding everything. We had to come in the morning to plug the battery back again to restart it. Okay, some batteries were lost in the way. I don't know whether they were attacked or because they just failed. So, and with all this data, what we wanted to show you, and bearing in mind the request made by RootedCon is that we've been providing lots of information. Our mobile phones have been active all these days to make these tests, and therefore we would demand manufacturers of ASOs to implement features to activate, to enable or disable the Wi-Fi depending on the GPS location, preference, or specific point in time, instead of enabling them all or disabling them all, so that we can ensure and protect and secure our privacy more. So we also thought about adding a GPS module to the Raspberry, as well as a module, a 3G module. But actually, because every mobile phone takes between 10 seconds and several minutes to do that, it was somehow feasible. Well, it was feasible to some extent. If a person is in the car, it's more difficult to track or to follow, whereas if the person is walking, it is easier to track that person, to follow that person, because you have good enough range or scope. So with all this, what we wanted to do before we finish is the following. We would like all of you sitting on the front row to come over here, because you have worked really hard to make this happen. So we have to watch RootedCon video. I've been told that it was coming out very well. It was being very successful, but as I said, we didn't have a minute to attend any of the presentations. So we met only at our meeting points where we were distributing people to capture information, to gather information. So conclusions are the following. It is worthwhile to see it all. And well, by the moment you will have the videos edited, we will just log in and watch them on Vimeo. So thank you very much to all of you. Thank you for being here. I hope that you have liked this presentation.
Vamos a la ronda de preguntas.
All right, we move on to questions and answers. So do not leave. Okay, you are not finished? Not yet? Well, any questions, we are at your disposal. Well, logically, they could not show you some things because you did not authorize them. But I'm going to mention a number of things. Imagine that you are analyzing all the Wi-Fis that your telephones are calling. Imagine that if we leave and then our terminals are calling the specific websites of a specific hotel. So that's the point, okay? Think about what is happening when your telephone calls and asks every single Wi-Fi it knows. And then my telephone calls the Wi-Fi of a hotel I used to be with a person other than my wife, okay? So all the information will be destroyed after selling it to the secret services, okay? Oh, it looks like my wife has a question for me. Oh, congratulations. Okay. Microphone to Gus. Hello. Accenture, well, has made a took a challenge, okay, to connect to Wi-Fi and to have a chocolate bar vending, well, chocolate bars in the vending machine. Do you have that challenge? Well, we have gathered all the data. We needed to set everything up and to deploy it. So we couldn't make the presentation before we had the information, all the data. So we didn't know that you were interested in that part. Okay, we have the data, but we have not exploited them. So thank you. So sorry, we didn't hear the question from the interpreting booth. So congratulations for your presentation. I'd like to ask you, do you actually gather fake MAC addresses? Because Apple, when they do probes for Wi-Fi, they change the MAC address. So my question is, these huge amounts of MAC addresses, are you sure that they are real, that they are actual? Well, we will have to analyze it. Does that happen in the latest version of the OS? Well, I just don't know whether it is in the latest version or not, but I know that Apple was trying, they said that the Wi-Fi changed the MAC address every time it was making a search. And apparently Windows then does the same thing, changes the MAC addresses every time it looks for a Wi-Fi network. So when we said that we got like these 100,000 of requests, we have raw data. MAC addresses are correlative, so we have the feeling that they are being generated. It is not about a device connecting 100,000 times to connect it to 100,000 devices. Okay, there is another question over there. So congratulations for your presentation, highly interesting indeed. So after iOS 8, there is a randomized of packets, and then in Windows as of version 6. So probably randomization of Windows goes like that, and that's the reason why you got such a high number of MAC addresses. Have you tested it? Yes. Well, Cycle Wi-Fi is trying to avoid that. That is to say, connecting to it and avoiding the disclosure or publishing of SSIDs. So we tried it, but at least you still finding the same thing with version 8 of OS. Because we were so much surprised when we took a look at the raw data, that is to say the MAC addresses that we have imported, they are correlative. So, and this is consistent. Okay, there are some jumps here and there, but we understand, we take them as real. We feel they are real, they are actual. We could sit down and review the data because they are very interesting. No, you will destroy data today. Remember that. So question, how effective is this? So that would make profiling a person. I come close to the person, and then I followed this person, okay, just to kill him. Well, I don't know whether I will be answering or not, because I may be committing a crime. Well, because devices will ask about the same Wi-Fi networks always. And in previous challenges, we analyzed Wi-Fi networks that were many meters away. Okay. So in that sense, they did profiling. So the idea here was not to take out any data, any other MAC address, no profiling, just because of privacy reasons. So good afternoon. Thank you very much for your presentation. Very interesting. I was very much surprised that not seeing anyone doing anything with the Wi-Fi. Everything was very fast, and we were doing that passively. Okay, so I'd like to ask you about the cost of development of this project, because in the video you showed how you did the programming through several Raspberries. So at the University of Vigo, we had a similar project with 800 euros. They tracked 3,000 people. And how long did it take you to develop that, and the number of Raspberries that you used for that? Well, taking into account the price of Raspberry, price is not very expensive, okay? We used 5 of them. We added the modules, which are not expensive. Times devoted, well, every free time that we had, that we were left with, not very much free time, to be honest. And what was most difficult? Well, Victor had to program the analysis of the position, approximate location, depending on based on the power of each devices. And we calculated that with 2 cycles, then 3 cycles, and then we escalated that to the concurrent devices that we had around these days. I don't know whether I'm answering your question or not. Well, the university, did you do geolocation or you were just identifying single MAC addresses? Could you please ask the question? Yeah, at the University of Vigo, they identified single MAC addresses. No, it's not the same project. This was a project from last year, but they counted people according to single MAC addresses. So a few years ago, they had a project about the, well, triangling, okay, with making a triangle of the position of people on the campus, okay? So I have many questions. I'm sure that you in the audience also have lots of questions. So we will come back at 6 o'clock to listen to Raul's presentation. Very important. We'll display on the screen, okay, the place where we will be having the party tonight, okay? Big applause for them. Thank you.